Tonight, alive, awake and pinned inside the cockpit. A pilot survives a crash at Boona in a light plane he built. A QantasLink plane loses pressure and dives thousands of feet.
Have you been on a slingshot ride? Yeah, sort of similar to that. Yeah, it was not fun. I think I need to send search and rescue up to find my stomach.
A dramatic scramble across the Bruce Highway for a man on the run, the woman who stopped a would-be carjacker. The highway takedown of a gunman who tried to take out Donald Trump. The former president is blaming his political rivals for the second assassination attempt. The desert showdown for an Australian dynasty. The Murdochs go to court over money and control of an empire. The pride of Brisbane and Ipswich, from Cubs to club veterans, thousands head to Springfield.
And I'm Liz Cantor with your weather from Tamborine Mountain. Temperatures fell below zero in Queensland today. I'll show you just how cold it got and where shortly.
Made in Brisbane. This is 10 News First with Sharyn Ghidella.
Good evening. An experienced pilot is tonight in hospital after surviving a plane crash in the Scenic Rim. Brian Devison had just taken off from Boona Airfield when the engine failed.
Shattered wings, a smashed engine, a smear of blood, and one incredible story of survival.
He's a good pilot, but he's lucky he didn't hit a tree.
Scenic Rim pilot Brian Devison was at the controls of Scamp, his beloved biplane which he built from scratch. Just before 11 this morning, his plane stopped flying and started falling shortly after takeoff from the Boona airfield.
Well, what I can gather, I've been told he's had an engine failure.
Brian's been an aviator for more than a decade.
Yeah, he goes up once every couple of weeks for a bit of a fly around.
He would have drawn on every skerrick of that experience as his aircraft plummeted into scrubland. Somehow it narrowly missed being pulverised by a tree.
He knew what he was doing.
As the dust settled, Brian was alive, conscious, but pinned inside the cockpit. 3 fire crews converged on the scene. Some helped wrestle Brian from the wreckage, while the rest fought a small blaze sparked by the crash. Brian Devison is well versed when it comes to responding to emergency situations, not only as an experienced pilot, but ex-army, and it was those skills that likely saved his life. As for his beloved pride and joy, that's now destined for the scrap heap.
It used to be a beautiful little plane. Absolutely beautiful. She's buggered.
Brian suffered only minor injuries and is tonight recovering in the Princess Alexandra Hospital.
You never know what's going to happen. He walked away from it, so he's done well.
Matthew Carstunen for 10 News First.
QantasLink passengers say they feared the worst when their aircraft suddenly dived 20,000 feet over central Queensland. Live to Tim Collins. And Tim, people you've spoken to say they had no idea what was happening.
That's right, Sharyn. Qantas flight 1971 departed Townsville at around 6:30 this morning for the roughly 2-hour flight south to Brisbane. Now, there appeared nothing unusual as the flight steadily climbed to its cruising height of just under 30,000 feet. That was until passengers sensed that the airflow from the vents above them suddenly cut out, and the pilot alerted the flight crew of an immediate, quote, emergency descent over Ghidella. They saw the aircraft rapidly descend from 29,000 feet to just under 8,000 feet before touching down in Rockhampton without any further upset just after 8:30. Now, 10 News First has obtained the audio of the pilot and his reassurances to his passengers.
On departure out of Townsville, just to keep you in the loop, passing about 29,000 feet, we lost pressurisation, and obviously the priority is your safety, hence we made emergency descent, came down to Rockhampton.
It was like nothing I've ever been through before. Have you ever been on a slingshot ride? Yeah, sort of similar to that. Yeah, it was not fun. I think I need to send search and rescue up to find my stomach.
Now, Sharyn, the affected passengers on board that flight were put on other Qantas flights out of Rockhampton to complete their flight to Brisbane.
All right, Tim, thank you very much for that. An accused criminal's 2-month run from the law in 2 states has come to a crashing end on the Sunshine Coast. The 21-year-old was chased by police across the Bruce Highway, and tonight we can show you the video.
A desperate dash down the Bruce in the dark. Police give chase, dodging debris from a crash. This was close to the Big Pineapple at 6:30 at night, a foot pursuit leading officers through the forest and back onto the highway, where their suspect was cornered in a car and dragged out. They claim Anthony Oliver had launched a savage attack on the driver in a desperate getaway attempt.
The male person has then run onto oncoming traffic on the Bruce Highway. Will allege that he's stopped traffic in an attempt to steal a motor vehicle from oncoming persons, and he's made an attempt to do so on an elderly couple.
It was the woman still inside the vehicle whose quick thinking gave police the upper hand. She dove for the push-button start and turned the car off.
Unbelievable, really brave, and to have the mindset to carry out that action in the heat of that incident, take my hat up to a full credit.
Officers had earlier been covertly tracking the 21-year-old from an unmarked patrol car. He'd allegedly forced a woman into his vehicle. Tyre spikes were used to slow him down. In court, it was revealed the man is facing 33 charges dating back to June. Robbery, unlawful use of motor vehicles, more charges for having weapons, knives and a gun, and for firing it in a public place. 10 News First can also reveal Oliver is the man accused by police of leading them on a wild cross-border chase 2 weeks ago. A car stolen from here at Nambour, used in assaults and robberies in Lismore and Chindera, before being chased back to Queensland and dodging police on the M1. Tonight, he's behind bars, scheduled for another court date in November. Matt Johnston for 10 News First.
A would-be assassin may have lain in wait for hours, nursing a weapon and biding his time for a clear shot of Donald Trump. That revelation comes as Ryan Routh fronted court, where he was charged with 2 federal gun crimes.
This was the moment police caught Donald Trump's latest would-be assassin.
Take 2 steps to your right! Driver, walk straight back!
Ryan Wesley Routh surrendered to armed officers without a fight, only minutes after fleeing the Trump International Golf Course at West Palm Beach.
I was taken back by just how flat of a facial affect he had. He was displaying no emotion.
But the threat he posed was extreme, according to the FBI. They say Routh lay hidden next to this fence with his rifle, 2 bags, a GoPro camera and food for a staggering amount of time.
Cellular data shows that the subject was in the vicinity of the golf course roughly 12 hours before the engagement with the United States Secret Service.
The former president was almost 300 metres from the gunman's position when a Secret Service agent opened fire.
I get a phone call and it says Donald J. Trump, so I answer it and he says, JD, you're not going to believe this, but they tried to do it again.
Routh faced court today and was charged with 2 federal gun crimes. More charges are expected in the coming days.
The alleged gunman remains in custody here in Florida tonight after prosecutors successfully argued that he is a flight risk and a potential danger to the community. The new acting head of the Secret Service will also remain in the state, with the agency promising a swift, thorough and transparent investigation.
We need to get out of a reactive model and get to a readiness model.
And while Trump has praised the Secret Service, he's blamed so-called inflammatory rhetoric used by the Democrats for the attack.
America suffered too many times the tragedy of an assassin's bullet. It solves nothing and just tears the country apart.
Both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have condemned the incident, and law enforcement is now on high alert for any copycat-style attacks. Catherine Firkin for 10 News First, Florida.
A frustrated Prime Minister has unleashed on the Greens as one of the government's signature housing policies faces an early death in the Senate. Anthony Albanese says the Greens are driven by immaturity and spite as they team up with the coalition to block a bill the government says would help 40,000 families into a home.
Here's the kitchen. I love it. It's such a good...
great for open space.
Yeah.
After 7 rentals and share houses in 5 years, Cody Wem is into her own home, a government scheme which lets her buy on 5% deposit instead of the bank's 20% has been huge for her.
Not having to sort of scrimp and save for an extra
maybe 10 years to sort of get that extra 15%.
The Home Guarantee Scheme was a Scott Morrison initiative expanded under Labor, but it's two new Labor housing plans that now face death in the Senate.
Because Mr Dutton and Mr Bant are working together.
The build-to-rent scheme offers tax breaks to developers who increase the rental supply, while the help-to-buy scheme gets low-income buyers into property with the government taking an equity stake. The Coalition and the Greens oppose both schemes, but it is the Greens who infuriate Labor.
We have to call this what it is, and that is absolute rank hypocrisy.
It's just immaturity and spite.
The two proposals are an important part of a multi-billion-dollar government housing strategy.
There's no one putting forward a rational argument of why they shouldn't vote for it.
But the Greens say it's not enough.
It's time for the government to grow up, come back to the negotiating table and negotiate a housing plan that will actually start to tackle the scale of this housing crisis.
The Coalition has different fears.
Can you make a concrete commitment that Labor will not scrap or amend negative gearing?
We have no plans to change negative gearing.
The result on these bills, stalemate, with voters ultimately to decide who to blame. Hugh Remington for 10 News First.
They're carrying the hopes of Brisbane after one of the most inspiring victories of the season. The Lions Legion have massed in their thousands at the team's Springfield base.
The pride of Brisbane in Ipswich. The main attraction was at Springfield to watch the Lions prepare for the AFL preliminary finals. Thousands of fans lined up for a photo and a chance to meet their idols.
Will Ashcroft, Josh Dunkley, Hugh McCluggage, Lachie Neale, Charlie Cameron.
Yeah, it must give the players a real lift to see the support come out for their training.
We have more members than the Broncos.
And more raw. Down by 44 points, the Lions clawed back a win over the Giants.
I'm about to turn the telly off, to be honest, but just hung in there for a couple of goals. My daughter actually said, "Don't turn it off, Dad," so I did. And there you go, they didn't let us down.
They don't give up, and whenever it seems down, they always try their hardest to get back up.
Another comeback. The Lions lost the first 3 games of the season.
These big games, you need a bit of luck and you just never die, and that's what the Lions have shown the last couple of years, so hopefully they'll need to do that again against Geelong on Saturday.
Another grand final beckons.
After they beat GWS, I reckon they're a chance at the flag now.
Their first in 21 years. Tiani Reid for 10 News First.
Still to come on 10 News First Queensland, new apprenticeships, more housing, free public transport fares. The unofficial election campaign begins. Would you pay $7 for a cup of coffee? The bitter taste Brisbane's Phil Ghidella says is coming. He won a premiership for Penrith, but this battle is for all fans. A rugby league star opens up about dementia. And Liz Cantor is live from last summer's storm zone. What you can do now to protect yourself ahead of the next season.
Grand Prix Hyundai. In advertising and media, it's all about who you know. Says who? Advertising Industry Careers. In-depth company profiles, career growth tools and first-hand knowledge of the industry at your fingertips. Visit Advertising Industry Careers.
You were supposed to want the white picket fence. To wear the uniform. And take the corner office. Supposed to give the kids piano lessons. And be like all the neighbours. So when it comes to a car,
Turn right.
why break the habit of a lifetime?
I love a sunburnt country. A land of sweeping plains. Of ragged mountain ranges. Of drought and flooding rains. When the lucky country isn't so lucky,
Lucky you're with Amy.
Introducing the Shark Hydrovac, a 3-in-1 hard floor cleaner that vacuums, mops and cleans itself all at the same time. Remove wet and dry messes with ease. Shark Hydrovac, for all of life's everyday messes.
Caboolture is a part of a family-owned and operated business for over 55 years. For the best choice for Hyundai sales and service on the north side, come in and see the Camilleri family at Grand Prix Hyundai Caboolture today.
G'day, taking a look at those roads, and we've got some emergency roadworks this afternoon heading northbound on Logan Road as you head up by the Greenslopes Hospital. So a little bit slow up there, very busy heading out of the city, although it's the school holidays, still a lot of people working around the CBD, so it's about a 20-minute delay from the Riverside Expressway, which is also very heavy as well. The Gateway Motorway, you can expect about a 20-minute delay from Boondall up to the Bruce, a nice run to the sunny coast, and not too bad to the Gold Coast on the M1, as you can see, a nice look at the Riverside Expressway. It's Travis Groves, thanks to Grand Prix Hyundai Caboolture. I'll be back for another traffic update shortly.
Luxembourg does it, so does Malta. And if the Greens have their way, public transport could be free in Queensland too. It was one of the many commitments made before the official election campaign even begins.
A promise here.
And we will continue to invest in the projects that make sense.
A pledge there.
Today the LNP can commit to upgrading the Angus Smith roundabout intersection here.
Politicians everywhere.
We've launched a new fund to help young Gold Coasters build their careers.
In its latest pitch, the Greens want to drive public transport fares down from 50 cents to free.
We don't want to see people have to deal with all the fuss of tapping on and off. We don't want to see people being pinged and given fines.
The Greens want high-frequency buses every 10 minutes in 25 regions, including Townsville, Cairns.
And they have no ability to deliver. What's the difference here?
The Premier talking housing hope.
We now have $1 billion worth of new homes.
From the $3 billion in the Homes for Queenslanders Fund. As for how many are actually housing Queenslanders?
900 social and affordable homes have been completed since we launched the plan. There's more than 1,100 currently under construction and 2,200 contracted to be delivered.
In the last 10 years, in terms of the social housing completely falling off a cliff, we can do better.
The government's also moving in to train 28 more Gold Coast apprentices.
Getting a certificate, one in construction, a white card.
Your town's leading hand, Caleb Schubert, completed the program.
Really helped me build work-based skills, but not just that, a lot of personal life skills that have helped me through my journey through the construction industry.
Unlocking new potential. Brendan Smith for 10 News First.
Let's get a quick check of your weather around Queensland now with Liz Cantor. And Liz, it looks a bit chilly, but the view behind you looks incredible this afternoon.
There's definitely a wind chill up here, Sharon. Hello, everyone. I'm at one of the prettiest locations in southeast Queensland. It's also one of the hardest hit when it comes to our weather. Here at Tamborine Mountain, they are right in the firing line when storms roll in from the west. Last summer, Queensland had their worst season of natural disasters. We experienced 2 cyclones, major storm events, and in southeast Queensland, we had fires around Tara. Energex today issued a reminder that it's up to every single resident to be prepared. While most people prepare by having a first aid kit and a few other essential items around the house, what we saw last year was, particularly after those major storm events, many people were not prepared for the extended power outages. Here at Tamborine Mountain, homes were without power for days on end during the festive season. Last year's storms tore down 200 kilometres of power lines and damaged 800 power poles, resulting in nearly 300,000 homes and businesses in blackout. The message: it's essential to be proactive now to safeguard your home and family. It was another chilly day in Brisbane, but good news, winds are just starting to shift around to the east-northeast, which will put an end to the wind chill we've been feeling. It was only a degree or 2 below average with a low of 12, but it felt more like 10. If you were able to tuck out of the wind, our top of 25 was nice and warm under sunny sky. Here's a look at the satellite picture. You can see plenty of cloud over Queensland Queensland's north. We have isolated to scattered showers under this cloud, tending widespread at times over the north tropical coast. The high pressure system over southern Australia has been dominating our weather, driving cold air from the southern ocean all the way up to Queensland, with these fresh winds reaching even into the far north. The high should move to the east and offshore tomorrow, putting an end to these cold winds. And across Queensland today, Weipa had a top of 32, while Cairns' maximum was only 2 degrees warmer than its minimum of 20. A special mention for Roma, which hit 0.4 degrees just before 6:30, then warmed to a top of 25. In the Darling Downs and Granite Belt, it was even colder, below zero for many areas. Minus 2.4 degrees at Oakey was the coldest in Queensland. In the southeast, it still felt more like winter than spring. 5 to 21 for Toowoomba, 5 to 25 for Ipswich, 8 to 25 for Logan, and 13 to 22 for the Gold Coast. Sharyn, I definitely didn't dress warm enough for Tambourine Mountain. I'll be back later in the bulletin with your forecast on what's to come.
Yes, you should have thrown on a Spencer before you left the house. All right, thank you, Liz. Well, it could be the biggest cost blowout the art world has seen. An installation in Melbourne has ballooned $20 million more than its original price tag. Is it worth it? No one knows, because the piece remains a secret in storage.
An empty South Bank precinct set for a multi-million-dollar transformation, thanks to a lineup of art installations tipped to cost Melbourne ratepayers $22 million.
They chose one sculpture 6 years ago, and then quietly they've added a whole panoply of things to it.
Kiwi artist Michael Parakofai, celebrated for his installations across the globe, was commissioned in 2018 for a single piece. The price tag then was $2 million. The design has been kept under wraps, but has been described as an 8-metre soft toy-like kangaroo wrapped in fairy lights sitting, and could resemble something like this. The kangaroo will be joined by 4 other installations, taking the cost to $22 million.
We're in a cost of living crisis. Why are we spending $22 million? Why is $22 million being spent on statues?
My initial reaction was, oh, it's a lot of money.
In commissioning the work, the City of Melbourne estimated the sculpture could boost tourism spending by more than $60 million in the first year alone, but experts have cast doubt on that ambitious figure.
Ultimately, it's pie in the sky. We're never going to know whether it's true or false until they actually build the thing and see if $63 million worth of economic activity is generated by it.
The City of Melbourne says the South Bank Public Art Commission is one of the biggest public art undertakings, and it will be delivered in the heart of Melbourne's growing arts precinct by the end of 2027.
If it makes it more, livable for everyone that's in the area and a more inviting space, then go for it.
Jack Perry for 10 News First.
Up next, Andrew O'Keefe back behind bars. A magistrate's solemn warning to the former game show host. And Queensland troops in the Solomons, where World War II is still killing men and women and children. On 10.
Go from wet to dry with the new Shark Speed Style Rapid Gloss Finisher and Dryer. Create a high gloss finish in minutes with no heat damage. It's powerful, lightweight and delivers ultra-fast drying that is perfect for all hair kind. Shark Speed Style.
HCF's Thank You program gives members great savings. And now Gemma gets this ad for a thank you of her own.
I just want to thank my doctor for my liver transplant. And look, I won these at the transplant games.
Oh, that is hefty.
Jinx.
You know I love you, Jarvis, but there's just no way you'd be able to get dinner on the table in under 20 minutes like this. Planning even just a few dinners a week with HelloFresh can help in a lot of little ways. HelloFresh, hello dinner.
Hi guys, it's Courtney Hope, otherwise known as Sally Spectra. Miss me? When you're finished watching The Bold and the Beautiful, why not come and see what I've been up to on The Young and the Restless? Fast-tracked and free on 10play.
Late news, why doctors are warning of a return to the dark ages of medicine and the bird popularity contest that's caused quite a flap. See you soon on 10play and at 10:30 on Channel 10.
Lucky to be alive is how a magistrate sees former TV star Andrew O'Keefe, as the court heard keeping him behind bars might be the best thing for him right now. The troubled former TV host is back behind bars, accused of breaching bail and drug possession.
Just a week ago, Andrew O'Keefe was back at court and asked the question.
Are you tired of coming to Downing Centre?
Look, it's a lovely place to be, of course, but I prefer it wasn't me, yeah.
He left having failed to overturn domestic violence convictions. This morning, the former game show host was again before a magistrate for an entirely different matter, and this time O'Keefe was in custody.
You guys know as well as I do it'd be inappropriate to comment at this stage. That's all we can say. You heard the magistrate's comments.
God, he's lucky to be alive, said the magistrate. As for him being detained, if he wants to stay alive, that's the best thing to do. Over the weekend, the 52-year-old's understood to have been treated for an overdose at a Vaucluse home.
How are you?
Yesterday, unwanted attention from a cameraman outside Rose Bay Police Station prompted O'Keefe to go back inside to complain. He ended up being arrested and charged with breaching bail and possessing crystal meth allegedly found in a car. The court was told O'Keefe could apply for bail when he's next in court if a rehab facility has a bed for him, to which the magistrate responded, he's been there, done that. He's a frequent flyer. He just goes into the dock and sits there. He's just so used to it. God help him. It's a shame he doesn't have an epiphany. O'Keefe had been on bail after allegedly threatening a man before driving while under the influence of drugs.
I'm sure at some stage in the future a comment may be made, but it can't be today.
He'll return to court next month. Alice Hogg for 10 News First.
The death toll from Eastern Europe's worst flooding in decades has hit at least 16. In one Polish town, 44,000 residents have been told to pack only necessities and leave as floodwaters keep rising and local flood defences start to fail.
The losses are unimaginable for the city. All the bridges are broken, asphalt is coming off. The town doesn't have the funds to repair it. The city looks like an apocalypse. I would call it a ghost town.
Casualties have also been reported across Romania, Austria and the Czech Republic as rivers burst banks and unstable hillsides collapse. Storm Boris, which has triggered these extreme events, is slowly moving south towards Italy and losing strength, but is expected to drop another 100 millimetres of rain in the coming days. All good here. That's the chilling last message sent by the doomed Titan submersible as it headed for the wreck of the Titanic. Minutes later, the vessel imploded, killing all 5 on board, including the company's founder, Stockton Rush. US Coast Guard investigators have started an inquiry into the disaster, which, according to engineers who worked on the Titan, was entirely predictable. The hearing is expected to last 2 weeks. A natural gas pipeline explosion on the outskirts of one of the largest cities in Texas has forced hundreds to evacuate. This pillar of fire and smoke could be seen from much of the city. The heat was so intense a nearby playground caught fire. Firefighters soaked nearby houses to stop them igniting.
You know, I hear a big boom and then I felt the house shake and I was like, what was that?
The gas supply has been shut off, but it could be several hours until reserves in the pipe have burned off. This might make you feel old, but also perhaps a little comfy, like a favourite jumper or couch. In fact, maybe like the Friends couch from Central Perk or one of Chandler's jumpers. Both those things and more are set to hit the auction block to mark the show's 30th anniversary. This green button-neck jumper was worn by Chandler in one of his best-known moments in the whole series.
He wears it right before he and Monica get married. He asks her if she'll be taking his last name, Bing, and she says, no, absolutely not, that's weird.
One of Phoebe's extravagant coats is also up for sale. It's already hit more than $3,000 in early bids and is climbing. But the star of the show is the famous couch, but you'll need deep pockets. It's already sitting at almost $12,000. The guns fell silent more than 80 years ago, but World War II is still killing and maiming people in the Solomon Islands. Tens of thousands of bombs were dropped on the Pacific nation, where Australian troops are leading a search and destroy mission to make it safe.
Fire in the hole!
A mission to destroy and protect this jungle oasis from the remnants of World War II.
So this is the largest render safe ever conducted from a land-based organisation.
Up to 250 personnel from 7 countries, led by our troops alongside the Solomon Islands Police, have trawled through the tropics, digging and diving for explosives left here during battle. More than 3,000 items have been removed this operation alone, on top of more than 500 previously identified in the area.
It is really important that this type of operations to be conducted.
Working with local communities to find the ammunition and free up the land for agriculture and infrastructure.
Once you get rolling with this operation, you realise quickly that we all speak the same language.
But it's no easy feat.
So most items are heavily encrusted with coral. This makes it quite hard for us to ID the actual specific munition, and then equally quite hard to remove it from the seabed.
Operation Render Safe occurs annually or upon request.
Firing in 3, 2, 1.
Counting down until the islands are blast free. Lucy Gray for 10 News First.
Still to come, why Brisbane's Coffee King says you could soon be paying $7 for a cup of coffee. And could a hearing test prevent dementia? The 12 things you can do right now.
Grand Prix Hyundai at Caboolture.
You're good.
It takes a certain type of owner to make it a Toyota certified pre-owned vehicle. That's how we can include a full service history. Toyota.
You were supposed to want the white picket fence. To wear the uniform. And take the corner office. Supposed to give the kids piano lessons. And be like all the neighbours. So when it comes to a car,
Turn right.
why break the habit of a lifetime?
What are you waiting for? Come on! At Woolworths Cricket Blast, you'll level up your confidence and teamwork skills. That was awesome. Join your local program today.
With HCF health programs, members get support to live healthier lives. And now, Sally gets this ad to give her sister a message.
Amy, stop taking my avocados. What am I supposed to do with this?
Sisters.
Is a part of a family-owned and operated business for over 55 years. For the best choice for Hyundai sales and service on the north side, come in and see the Camilleri family at Grand Prix Hyundai Caboolture today.
G'day, well a final check on those roads as we wrap up your Tuesday, and of course the Walter Taylor Bridge is closed at the moment for renovations till the end of the month or after the school holidays. That's impacting traffic on Mogul Road around the Indooroopilly shops, very heavy through there, and it's also flowing on to the Western Freeway, southbound down through Indooroopilly. Still quite busy inbound, outbound to the city on the Riverside Expressway. It's Travis Groves, thanks to Grand Prix Hyundai Caboolture. That's your traffic up to date. I'll catch you tomorrow.
3 teenage boys accused of a 3-week crime spree through Logan and Brisbane South have been hit with more than 100 charges. The gang, aged 15, 16 and 17, allegedly broke into homes across 16 suburbs. Police say the arrests were made after locals gave them the location of the suspects. The man known as Brisbane's Coffee King says a cup could soon cost close to $7. Beans, power and politics are driving prices up and leaving cafe owners bitter and bailing out of the industry.
It's more than a drink, it's an addiction.
I drink coffee every day. I love coffee.
But what if it cost $7?
$7? No, I've never. $7? Where?
I think it's a shame, really. I remember we used to get our coffee for about $3.50 and it's just skyrocketing.
Coffee king Philip DeBella has worked in hospitality for decades. He says the cost of living crisis has now reached the coffee mug. And even the bicky on the side. Tim Tam's now selling in supermarkets for a whopping $6.
Well, this is the first time in 35 years that I've seen all expenses go up at once.
Cafes now make roughly $1 in profit per coffee.
Personally, it is frustrating as a small business owner that, there's a lot of things which are out of our control.
Australian cafe owners are currently doing it tough. Only 20% are making profit, 60% are treading water, the rest are losing money.
The future of hospitality as we know it is going to go from about 26,000 cafes in Australia, I believe, down to about 21 or 22,000 in the next 24 months.
Small businesses are calling on governments for support.
So we're not asking government to have the answers. In most cases, we've got the answer for you. We just want governments to listen.
One request: raise the hours international students can legally work from 24 hours a week.
I have to pay for, petrol, groceries, and just, it was hard.
Bianca Carboni for 10 News First.
The experts are warning we face a dementia tsunami with cases expected to triple by 2050. But today they revealed almost half could be avoided using simple interventions such as getting your hearing checked.
In his last game, Panthers legend Royce Simmons left his mark.
He will remember this for a long, long time.
2 years ago, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's after a road trip with his wife Leanne.
She got out with a carton of beer and I said, "God, great, you bought a carton of beer for me." She said, "We just pulled up at the hotel and you went in and ordered it and I carried it out the car. You just seen it 2 minutes ago." And I said, "Oh."
He's tackling the disease head-on with simple steps such as exercise.
About 40% of risk factors are modifiable, so we can improve or actually prevent dementia.
The experts at Neuroscience Research Australia, or NEURA, with the list that could help stop many new cases.
Looking after your blood pressure, your cholesterol, exercise, staying engaged in the community, treatment of depression.
Launching a new roadmap to end dementia. The Albanese government is also tackling surging numbers.
We've added 3.9 million minutes of care per day into aged care.
An MRI is a significant screening test for dementia, but experts here at NEURA are calling for a much simpler test to be done earlier on in the piece, a simple hearing test.
We know that, for instance, if you're at a dinner party and you can't hear what people are talking about, you can't engage in that conversation, you withdraw from the conversation and from the community, and that actually accelerates neurodegeneration and dementia.
Ali Donaldson for 10 News First.
After the break, we'll have all your day's sports news, including why the Cowboys' confidence is growing in North Queensland. And the Lions run off their soreness, but can they recover in time for the Cats? Cowboys co-captain Ruben.
Fall in love with Hungry Jack's new Jack's Fried Chicken Southern Style Tenders. Crispy, juicy, 100% Aussie chicken that will have you craving more and more. Now at Hungry Jack's.
Perfectly personalised ice cream? Turn almost anything into ice cream with the Ninja Creamy. Transform simple ingredients to match your taste, diet, imagination and more. Create your own flavour with the Ninja Creamy.
HCF gives members CanStar winning health cover and the lowest average rate rise of the major funds. Now we're also giving members the chance to take over our ads. Isn't that right, Stuart? Hold on. Do you want some help? We'll get hair and makeup.
Cotter has warned his side have yet to play at their best. The confidence in North Queensland quietly building as they prepare for a Sharks side which hasn't won a finals match in 7 years.
They've led from the front this season.
Reuben Cotter in an elimination final. I think he does. He does.
Reuben Cotter and Tom Dearden very much on brand and on message.
Earn the right to have the big plays without the small efforts, the small plays and nailing those, the big plays don't come.
It's all about the small moments and those little effort areas, and we know if we get that right, that creates the big moment.
There's a big moment ahead of them, underdogs against Cronulla in Sydney on Friday night for a shot at a prelim final.
Knowing that we probably haven't played to our best yet, and searching for that sort of performance is what everyone's looking for. And I really feel the belief amongst the group has grown too over probably the last month.
We're really excited, and there's a little bit of confidence and belief, I guess, growing from week to week.
Confidence an issue for Nico Hines' Cronulla. They haven't won a finals fixture since 2018.
We've got this tag at the Cronulla Sharks at the moment about we can't win a finals game, and we're not worried about it. it's going to come. There's going to be a moment in a game, and it could be this weekend.
I've been hearing that there's a bit of stick given to Nico, and I mean, look, rugby leagues are very much a team sport, so I don't understand how one man can cop flack for an entire team's performance.
And with NQ needing a charter flight after Cowboys fans booked up all the flights to Sydney, it appears Cronulla's faithful might also need some transport help.
You guys should get one. What, a bus to what? A flight to Allianz? Maybe for the fans so they can actually get over the bridge for once.
That might be a bridge too far. Veronica Eggleton for 10 News First.
The Lions may be riding high following their semi-final win, but reality could be about to hit hard. Many of the squad were unable to train today as the pain of playing through September reared its head.
It's unusual to see the entire Lions squad jogging laps to begin training. It wasn't for fitness, instead a sign of how stiff and sore they truly are.
I suppose it's on everyone individually to be able to do the work they need to mentally to get themselves in the frame of mind to go out there and train today and move on to Geelong.
No player was as hobbled as Lachie Neale, only lasting through 15 minutes of hand passing before leaving the field.
Lock probably hasn't been training too much on Tuesdays for 7, 8, 9 weeks. And there's a few different guys in that position as well. Every team will have niggles at this time of the year, and we expect Locke to be able to push through what he's got.
But it didn't dampen the fans' spirits, turning out in their thousands for a glimpse of the Giant Slayers.
A 6th year of finals under Chris Fagan, and the results are there for all to see. It's standing room only today here at Springfield.
Just because you put yourself in the position doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Hence, we're just trying to enjoy every moment and play with freedom.
At least Geelong don't have too many strengths to worry about.
Well, I think their half-forward line, their back line, their defence is as well structured as any. And their midfield, when they get on top and get the supply into their forwards, are really dangerous as well. Their system's really strong, and so we'll have to go to work on that.
A huge crowd at the MCG isn't an easy task to overcome too, especially against Victoria's last team standing.
Wouldn't say that. I'm not sure we're the most liked team by Victoria, especially from Melbourne teams.
Maybe there will be a few extra Lions fans after all. Josh McLean for 10 News First.
Things are about to get a whole lot busier for the Lions AFLW side. The competition is squeezing 11 fixtures into 10 weeks this season, meaning they will play 3 matches in the space of 10 days, including a midweek clash against the Bulldogs tomorrow night.
I guess that's the sort of hand we've been dealt this season, and every team has that. So we sort of have to approach that as best as you can and sort of manage around that, and other girls are sort of managing their work a little bit as well in this condensed fixture.
Kathy Svark has put pen to paper to remain a Lion for the next 2 years. The Wallabies have an edge this week, driven by the disappointment of a heavy loss to Argentina, according to Alan Alatoa. The prop where few people give Australia any hope of beating the All Blacks on Saturday.
People are going to say, what they think of us, but again, what's important for us is what we believe ourselves and executing our plan throughout the week to then go out there and then perform and then change the external noise that's happening.
Hunter Paisami is yet to be cleared to play after missing 2 tests with a knee injury. Back to the future for the Matildas, with Tom Somani taking over as interim coach. He previously led them to Asian Cup glory and World Cup quarterfinals in 2007 and 11. Tom says he's honoured to be back ahead of a friendly against Germany next month while they search for a permanent coach. Meanwhile, Katrina Gorry has been named captain of West Ham for the Women's Super League season starting this week. There was a major NHL superstar. Sidney Crosby is a man of the people. The Pittsburgh captain signed a bargain basement contract extension to save the team money today, then celebrated by delivering tickets to loyal Penguins fans.
What's going on? How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Great meeting you guys. Yeah. All right. Okay, thank you.
What a guy. Crosby even held his official re-signing press conference on a fan's front porch. We love a humble hero, so Sydney, let us reward you with our play of the day. Stay with us. Up next, we'll get a final check of your weather.
HCF gives members CanStar winning health cover and the lowest average rate rise of the major funds. Now we're also giving members the chance to take over our ads. Isn't that right, Stuart? Hold on. Do you want some help? We'll get hair and makeup.
Make perfectly smooth drinks on the go with the Ninja Blast Portable Blender. Blast through ice and frozen fruit with high-speed blending power. Ninja blending power in your hand. That's life at full blast.
Planning even just a few dinners a week with HelloFresh can help in a lot of little ways. Less stress, more variety, no one getting prickly about dinner. No offence. Beautiful. HelloFresh, hello dinner.
Hello friends, Liz Cantor with your weather, and thanks for joining me on 10 at Tambourine Mountain, one of the most beautiful places in southeast Queensland to watch the sunset. We started September with daytime temperatures in the 30s. Midway through, we're seeing overnight temperatures drop below zero. The joys of spring. It's all thanks to clear sky and cold winds over the Granite Belt and Darling Downs. Oakey was the coldest with minus 2.4 degrees. In northern Queensland, isolated showers under all that cloud becoming widespread along the tropical coast thanks to moisture and onshore winds. Tomorrow, the high pressure system that's had a grip on our weather shifts offshore, and we'll see a change in the wind direction, finally putting an end to this spring chill. It will remain mostly dry across Queensland with isolated showers over the far north and along the tropical coast. Across Australia, sunshine for Perth and Adelaide, cold and wet in Melbourne and Hobart, strong winds for Canberra, 9 to 26 with sunshine for Sydney. Back home in Queensland, cloudy with the top of 31 for Weipa, 27 for Cairns, much warmer than their top of 22 today, 18 to 27 for Townsville, and in the west, not much warmer with 28 for Mount Isa. 13 to 31 for Longreach, cloudy along the coast between Rockhampton and Gympie, and clear sky over Roma, slowly warming to 28. Further south, Ipswich, still likely to drop below 10 degrees tonight, 14 to 24 for the Gold Coast and 12 to 24 for the Sunshine Coast. On our waters, expect one of the largest high tides of the year tonight as we approach tomorrow's full moon. Winds light and variable early on the bay before strengthening from the north. 13 to 25 is the official forecast for Brisbane, with cloud lingering in the morning. Then looking ahead as northerlies establish themselves, some heat returns. We're back into the 30s from Thursday. However, overnight temperatures remain chilly in Ipswich, the single digits still on repeat, but thawing to a top of 32 Thursday and Friday. For those enjoying school holidays on the Gold Coast, better beach weather with sunshine returning for the weekend with a top of 27 Sunday, and on the Sunshine Coast even warmer, a top of 29 for both Saturday and Sunday. Great beach holiday weather, Sharyn.
Thanks, Liz, and that's the latest on 10 News First Queensland this Tuesday. Join Ursula Hager for 10's Late News tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow at 5.